next guest is an award-winning actor who's like a stamp of quality inside your telly. He's currently starring in Mixtape, available to watch now on BBC iPlayer. So please welcome a gift more precious than gold, frankincense and myrgis. It's Jim Sturgess.
Yeah, we got there in the end.
Oh, yes.
Nice one, Vassos. Vassos, don't stick around for this because we're talking about mixtapes.
Saving the best till last, Vassos. Thank you. I appreciate that, man.
How are you, Jim?
I'm good, man. I'm very good. Yeah, very
you
good.
are super qualified to star in this show because you're a great actor and you love your music. Just before we get onto the, which is brilliant, I've watched all 4 episodes. It is a fantastic show. It's called Mixtape. Continues to episode 3, Tuesday 9 p.m. BBC 2. But all 4 episodes are available to watch on the iPlayer. I don't know because I watched them all. I love them.
Thank you.
It's great. I think it's going to cause a lot of breakups, but that's a conversation we'll have in a bit. Just tell everybody how you know what you sort of proved to yourself once and for all that you're going to choose acting over your music because it's hilarious.
Oh no, we were just talking earlier, but I just said that I put a record out last year, and it's something I've always sort of flirted between acting and music my whole life since I was probably about 13, 14, but finally kind of put a record out. And it made me fall in love with acting even more. I think it it solidified that truly acting is my call in life.
Right.
Yeah.
So just tell us about the ingredients to that emotion.
Well, only because it was so much work. It was so much hard work, sort of carrying it all on your shoulders. You know, I sort of had to write it all. Friends of mine produced it, but then I had to organise all the music videos, and there was also nowhere to sort of hide. So for years, I always sort of thought music was my escape. You know, that was where I sort of put my head when I wanted to disappear. Then I realised, no. Acting is where I kind of escape to. Yeah.
Because I love my cars. I've always loved my cars. And then for a bit, I sort of turned it into a business. I thought, what have I done this for? This is where I used to go to get away from what I do, which I love, and find it easier than this.
Yeah, that's exactly the experience I had.
I think it's called hubris, maybe.
But it was amazing. I was glad that I did it. It was an itch that needed to be scratched, and it was, it was something that I sort of knew that I needed to do at some point in my life, and I think I'll do it again. It was something that, it just had to be sort
But at least you've had the perspective to discover, like 6 months later, that it's not what you want to do. It took me like 6 years.
Yeah. Well, a lot of my friends sort of work in music, and to varying degrees of sort of success.
Yeah.
It's a slog, man. It's hard out there. It's hard for musicians.
Non-stop. And you currently perform under the alias King Curious.
King Curious.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
It was hard to sort of find the kind of name that felt right for a sort of solo record. I definitely didn't want to call it my own name. So I was just kind of looking through my notebook and trying to find sort of clues of something that might sort of speak out to me. And there was this, I squirrel away all kinds of phrases and lyrics and little sentences and stuff like that. And there was just a phrase in it that said, I have no idea how this is going to play out, but I'm going to spell something here, but it's not, don't worry. It said, I've no idea how this is going to play out, but I am F-U-C King Curious.
Oh,
and
good.
The F-U-C had been, I'd obviously dribbled on it or spilt some tea on it or something like that. So the F-U-C had been sort of watermarked, so it just said King Curious.
Love it.
And I went,
love that.
I'll take that.
Okay, it's a good start. I'm glad I asked it. I think I'm glad I asked it. No, we're all right with that, aren't we?
I don't know.
I've been told, I was on a TV show and I told that story and they all went absolutely mental. So
yeah, we're fine.
F-U-C King Curious.
Yeah, love it. So Jim is in this show called Mixtape, which it's just so innocent and profound. It's the perfect combination of those two extreme emotions, and it's just brilliant. It's a 4-part series following Daniel and Alison and their teenage romance in 1989 in Sheffield, Florence Hunt and Rory Watson-Smith, and their modern-day adult relationship played by Teresa Palmer and Jim himself here, sitting here now. And so it's a companion piece with itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
So just speak to a bit more, then we'll talk about it. I loved it.
Yeah, well, it's really about sort of young love, about reconnection, and about the sort of power of music, So it starts off with these young teenagers in 1980s working class Sheffield, and they sort of fall in love over their shared passion of music.
In the most beautiful, simple way.
Simple. In the days where life was simple and beautiful. And they start, as many of us did back in those days, they start giving each other mixtapes of all their favourite music. Yeah. And it opens up their sort of language, and their dialogue is sort of music. Yeah. Then you sort of cut later on into as the show sort of moves on, and you move sort of 20 years later. and you discover the same two characters, but they're living in opposite parts of the world. One of them is still living in Sheffield, in the town that he grew up in, and Alison has moved and she's living in Sydney, Australia.
So they literally couldn't be further apart.
They literally couldn't be further apart. And through a sort of book that Alison has written in her later years, it sort of acts as a sort of catalyst for my character Daniel to dare to reach out to her again. He looks her up on Facebook, and he decides he doesn't know what to say to her. He can't think of the right words to sort of reconnect. So he sends her a song. Yeah. And that song starts a new dialogue between them as adults. And the music, as we all know, is a visceral sort of entry point into your memory banks. And it opens up all the floodgates of their past. And you, as the show sort of develops, you learn and understand what happened and why she moved to Australia.
Hang on a minute. You do that whilst thinking about your own life a million times a minute as well, don't you?
Yeah, exactly.
And they both spookily have a reason. She has a reason to come back to Sheffield via a book. Yeah. You just mentioned that. Yeah. And he also has a very sort of tenuous reason to be in Sydney in Australia.
Yeah. He uses that as an excuse to kind of get over there.
Because he's looking for a musician.
Yeah, he's a music journalist who's about to interview a very famous old musician.
In New Zealand.
Who lives in New Zealand. So he goes,
Sydney's on the way.
I'll sort of sidetrack it to Sydney. That's the yarn that he spins to his wife, anyway. Yeah, because both characters are married now with children, and so it gets very, very complicated. And it's a messy, very real sort of romance story in the way that sort of love can be. You know, it's not gushy and sort of sentimental. Yeah. It's quite grounded and painful at times.
Yeah, and there's loads going on because the girl's mum is an alcoholic because dad's not around anymore, and then there's various nefarious characters hanging around that for not obvious reasons, but for the kind of reasons you might be able to guess. And then Daniel's mum is protecting him because she loves him, but she loves him too much. She can't let him go.
She does something a bit upsetting. Yes,
I know. Yeah. And then he's like, "Oh my gosh!" Anyway, a grown-up Dan. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And I'm watching it yesterday, and I'm on to the 4th episode. Great. And there's 5 minutes left. And obviously, I can't say what happens at the end because there's 4 hours before that. But it's like there's 5 minutes left. There must be a 5th episode, and it just about managed to check itself at the door. Doesn't
a lot of people have been saying that. I mean, it is only 4 episodes, so it's short, and and I love TV when it works like that. You know, when it's quite short and sweet and specific, and there's a beginning, a middle, and an end.
All right, well, we've got to dive into the mixtape world. You were a big mixtape guy, weren't you, Vassos?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it makes you almost sort of want to well up when you think about the mixtapes. Caroline made me a mixtape when I left for Russia quite soon after we met. I went and lived in Russia for a year, and I still hear songs like Fever, da-dum-dum,
yes, of course,
and Walking on Sunshine and various songs from that mixtape. They just take me straight back to the. I mean, it's so evocative.
It's so visceral. Yeah, it's such an entry point into all your memories.
As far as mixtapes are concerned, do we choose the songs did we choose the songs on the mixtape for our loved ones that sort of that were about us, for them to remember us by, about them, to show how much. To say the things we couldn't say because music is what feelings sound like, or were they songs for us? Where would you go?
I think it was all of those things, wasn't it? It was just the sort of language. It just it allowed you to say things that you would never dare kind of say.
And
when you received one, you were kind of looking for clues in the lyrics, weren't you? You were like, what is this person trying to say to me with giving me this song?
Was it about the song, or was it about, I like this band, do you?
Then you're trying to look cool, you know what I mean? And then you throw in a couple of B-sides, a few rarities, you know what I mean?
Was there some Nick Drake in there yesterday?
There's Nick Drake in there, yeah.
It's so weird because we played Nick Drake for the first time ever on the show yesterday morning.
Right.
Been on the show 100 years. Yeah. We played Nick Drake yesterday morning.
Oh, amazing.
I watched the show the other day. 2 Nick Drakes in it. I think there were 3 or 4 in the end. I was like, this is all a bit weird. This is all a bit spooky.
Yeah, the music was a big part of the story and the characters. You know,
how did they get the rights to all those songs?
Yeah, we had to work really hard in sort of figuring out what the music was, and to make sure, that these people are music lovers. They were into their bands. They weren't just sort of listening to the hits of the time. So you got great bands like the Stone Roses and New Order and The Fall and the Jesus and Mary Chain, and these guys were really into their music.
And there's a couple of great scenes at house parties.
Yeah.
And obviously we now have parties at houses as grown-ups, But they're not house parties, are they?
No.
And we'll never, ever, ever get to go to a house party again because we're just not allowed. It's just because we don't have those kind of house parties. You know, your character, the younger you, played by
Rory Walton-Smith.
By the way, everybody's great in this.
Yeah, but this is his first ever acting job. He's never done
You must be very annoyed.
He's never. No, I'm super proud of him, man. He was just an amazing guy. And yeah, just to know that was his first experience and that was his first time in front of the camera.
Who plays young Alison?
Florence, yeah, she's in Bridgerton, so she's she knows what she's doing,
but you know,
and she's amazing in it.
Young Yu's walking down the stairs at the house party, you know, having to sort of excuse himself around people who were just snogging halfway up. There
was always someone on the staircase, wasn't there?
Oh my God, warm cans of skull.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was always the people in the kitchen you had to watch out for. There was always trouble going on in the kitchen.
Yeah, you'll always find me in the party kitchen.
You wanted to be the kitchen posse.
If you're in the kitchen, something was going down in there.
You will always find me in the kitchen at parties. You will always find me in the kitchen at parties. And young Daniel is at this house party, and he's waiting for young Alison to come. And she walks up to the garden, and she turns around and goes home again. It's one of those things. It's like in a horror film, isn't it? When you say, "Don't go in the cellar." You just know she's going to turn around.
She's not going to make it. I know.
And she has to turn around. She can't go.
Yeah.
What was the vibe like on the? Because did you go to Australia? Did you actually?
Yeah, we filmed it in Australia. We filmed it in Dublin and we filmed it in Sheffield.
All right, so you did go to the places?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we started off in Australia, which was a curse for me. Originally, we were meant to shoot all the Sheffield stuff first. Then we were going to go to Australia and shoot all that. But then the schedules changed. So I had to fly to Australia. Jet lagged the entire time that I was there.
How long were you there for?
Not long. We were there. I was probably there just over 3 weeks.
Right.
I was a sort of guest in that story. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course you were.
So Teresa Palmer, who's a brilliant Australian actress, she was leading the charge for that sort of part of the shoot. Then we went back to Dublin and we shot there, equally as jet lagged because I had to come home the other side. Right. So it didn't work out well for me. It's
funny because I didn't know that Teresa was an Aussie because obviously she has to allude to having a distant Sheffield accent, and I just thought she was a British actress who was really good at an Aussie accent. Right. But it's the other way around.
It's the other way around. She peppered a little bit of Northern English.
Clever.
Very clever. Yeah.
Because when she's in Australia, she's full on Aussie, of course, as you would be if you lived over there for a while, even if you're from Sheffield.
Yeah.
But then she comes back, and Lulu does that all the time. I don't know if you know about that. You know, if you've ever heard Lulu.
Yeah.
When she's talking to Scottish people, she gives full Scottish.
No,
American, full American.
Yeah, give them a drink, and then they're
and
like.
And London, she's sort of somewhere in between.
Yeah.
So Teresa's got all that going on. It's great. It's great. Anything else you want to say about it? Because it's how's it doing? It's out there now.
It's amazing for us because it was quite a small production and we were really up against it. We didn't have a huge amount of time, as you often do with these sort of TV shows, and it was just made with a lot of love and a lot of care, and everyone was passionate about it. And yeah, the director, Lucy Gaffey, is an Australian director, probably one of the greatest directors I've sort of worked with in terms of just being collaborative and getting everybody involved. She's just a really beautiful human being, first and foremost, and a great director alongside of that, So it was a good experience.
How do great directors, right?
Yeah.
Like Lucy, how do they impart notes to actors without offending them, breaking their confidence? How do they inspire when clearly they want the actor to do something they're not doing or stop doing something they don't want them to do?
Yeah.
How does she do that? I just want to know if we can use
Lucy's so sort of delicate and so sort of caring. I think she would ask you how you feel about it and would create a conversation around it, and if she felt sort of strongly one way or the other about where the performance was going, she would sort of weave that into the conversation.
So I was listening to Willem Dafoe. I was talking to Vass about this earlier, who gave this great interview recently, and he was talking about the fact that it's all about actions. So he says he said too many people focus on the words because words can be heard and can you learn your script and He said he puts his character into a situation where they have to carry out certain actions, and then the words, although written, absolutely, and we wouldn't be here without those, would just come out as they're meant to. And I thought, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's probably a really clever way of doing it. Do you recognise
that's why he's Willem Dafoe. Yeah, definitely. If you sort of really understand what the scene is about, and you really understand what you're sort of feeling and the actions that and what your body's sort of going through, the words, exactly as you said, will tend to just sort of fall into place.
I love it. 'Cause it's fearless, this, because there's some very sort of lo-fi dialogue. You know, not that it's not beautifully composed, but it is lo-fi on purpose, and it's like.
Sometimes your limits can be your greatest strengths, you know, and that's certainly worked for this show. Is that it just. Yeah, we were sort of up against it, but it has this sort of raw kind of quality to it that maybe wouldn't have come if you had all the money in the world.
But also, 2 scripts are too smart for real life. Too many scripts are too smart for real life, and this is like, no, this character would only have a certain limited vocabulary. Therefore, let's not give them one that.
And Lucy, the director, she dared to take her time. You know, there's scenes where just very slow and very sort of you let the atmosphere of the sort of moment just sort of sink in. You know,
it's beautiful. Sue says, "Morning, Chris. I watched Mixtape over the last 2 nights. It brought back so many memories. This is the problem. My first mixtape. This is a problem. It was so well written, and the acting was brilliant. It's too well written for most of us. I loved every minute. Good luck." Vasa says, "Sue." Deb says, "I'm on episode 3 of Mixtape. I love it. I had someone make a mixtape for me back in the day. Love that too." This is what everybody's going to
I'm getting sent so many mixtapes. People sending me photographs of all the mixtapes.
You got to do something else. You got to do like a sort of a compliment piece, like an hour of mixtape stuff. Yeah. Michael says, "My wife and I have watched all of Mixtape and it was fantastic." That's punchy, watching it with your current wife. This is not a wife watch for me. It's not. It can't be. It resonated with us because there are many parallels to our life as we were. Oh, that is fine for you. As we were together at school, went our separate ways and came back together 20 plus years later in music. Oh,
they did?
Look, I would watch it if I was in a relationship like that. I'd be like, yeah, we're rocking. That's us.
They're the winning story. Yeah, definitely.
Jim, great to see you, man.
You too, man. Thanks for having me on.
Anything you'd like to add?
I can't wait to watch it.
Oh, good. I hope you enjoy it. Yeah.
You're on safe ground, aren't you? Because you and Caroline met when you were young.
We were met when we were 19. But yeah, it feels as time goes by. You remember with Judi Dench and they met and then they've gone for certain time apart. And I used to love that.
Yeah, it's the come again relationships, isn't it?
Well, I made my wife a mixtape, but but mixtapes didn't exist because we didn't meet that long ago. And I was like, well, how do I give her a collection of songs? How do I make her some music that means something to us and to? And so I ended up I just burn it all onto a USB stick. And then I sellotaped the USB stick into a card and sort of wrote her a nice card and then gave her a mixtape in that format. That was the best.
Mixtape.
King Mixtape. There you go.
All right, mate. Jim,
beautifully rounded off. Thank you, Chris.
The team very excited about seeing you today. I was very excited about seeing you today. Great piece of work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, man. Thank you very much.
Jim Sturgess, Mixtape. Let's hear it for Mixtape.
Cheers,
Available
guys.
now. All episodes, BBC iPlayer. And it's on Tuesdays, 9 p.m, BBC 2. All 4 episodes out now on iPlayer. So say, great.